Hey there. Today I want to talk about the two main kinds of anger. There is kind of an idea that's floated out there quite often. I see it sometimes on social media that anger is always just a secondary emotion. And what's underneath our anger is fear or sadness or pain. And I only partially agree with this statement. I don't think anger is always a secondary emotion. I think sometimes it is, and I think sometimes it's also a primary emotion. So I want to talk about the two different kinds of anger. And so there's primary emotion anger, and then there's secondary emotion anger. And the terms I like to use with my clients around these kinds of angers, I like to call primary emotion anger our adult self anger. And I like to call secondary emotion anger more of our young self anger. And so I want to tease these out a little bit with you because I think this is a really important step in helping us create a healthier relationship with anger is first and foremost identifying which anger we're feeling. And primary emotion anger is really from our adult self. It's really wise and accurate and appropriate anger. It is anger that is coming forward in our bodies to say, no, this is a boundary. This is not okay. There has been a trespass in some way. Either someone else has trespassed my boundaries, I've trespassed my boundaries, but there needs to be a boundary that's held in place. Something that I value, something that I care for is being compromised. And anger is coming forward to highlight this and reinforce this boundary or this protection. So this kind of anger is healthy and appropriate anger. This is why I call it our adult self anger. And when I take action from this wise, appropriate anger, so I hold a boundary because someone has just said something to me that really is not okay. And I speak to my anger in this moment as opposed to from it in a really reactive way. I speak to it saying, hey, I feel angry right now and this isn't okay. When I do this from the adult self anger, I'm more likely to yield the results that I want. I'm more likely to feel connected to myself when I take this action from my anger. So, this is adult self anger that is a primary emotion. And then there's secondary emotion anger, which, like I said, I call kind of young self anger. And this kind of anger is more reactive, it's more fiery, it's more impulsive, it can be more aggressive as a result, and even more violent in words or actions. And there's an intensity to this kind of anger a lot of times. A lot of times it really is just the fight response, just responding, reacting. And in my experience, when I, for myself or with my clients, I get underneath this anger, what's underneath it is not necessarily more anger. Oftentimes, what underneath secondary emotion, young self anger, is pain, grief, fear, trauma. And so it's really important to start to differentiate these two kinds of anger. And again, if you're experiencing young self anger, to really be able to locate what am I actually feeling right now? What's actually happening right now? What am I actually upset about? Because when we get underneath it, we're then connected to ourselves. And that's been my experience. When I react, when I send that email off, when I yell at someone and it's all from that young self anger, I don't get the results that I want. I'm disconnected from myself too. So, we want to really help empower you to create a healthier relationship with anger so that you are then able to respond to situations in your life in a way that is actually aligned with the situation at hand. That's an appropriate response. And that's this adult self anger. So this is really my invitation for you is in the moment when anger arises, see if you can take a deep breath. You can do a body scan and tune in to where in my body am I feeling the fiery intensity of this anger? Where's the area of my body where there's the most sensation? If you can, put a hand on that area And just imagine you can talk to your anger and ask it, what am I actually upset about right now? What am I actually upset about right now? And open to anything that it shares with you. It might communicate with words, images, feelings, and then maybe ask the question again. And what am I actually upset about? So you're going deeper. And then maybe ask the question again, what am I actually upset about? And see if you can mine what the true anger is about. And for some of you, you might find it's over here. It's this adult self anger saying, there's a boundary, there's a trespass. I need to take action on this. This is not okay. And for some of you, you might find it's over here. And underneath what looks like anger, underneath it is really a wound, a pain, some grief that's really needing you to tend to it and hold it. And this is why I'm such a big fan of internal family systems and inner child work, because when I work with clients and we go deeper with the anger and we feel what's underneath it, a lot of times what I have them do is just put a hand on your heart, imagine the little one in there that's just having some really big feelings, and see if you can hold them and empathize with their experience right now. And again, what I will watch with clients is that they find that they're less prone to going into that young self anger because the young self is getting tended to by you. So, this is my offering for you today. I hope you're well. Bye bye.